the Supreme Court heard oral arguments in the case against DOMA and Proposition 8. It's a historic time for Oregon because last month we turned in the initial signatures to make the freedom to marry for all LGBT couples in this state a law, and we are ready to win the freedom to marry here in Oregon. There's some wonderful people here today who have agreed to come and speak to everyone to help us with talking about what happened today in the Supreme Court, what it means for Oregon, and what we can do to win the freedom to marry here in this state. First up, we have Claire Surrett. Claire represents Ward 7 on the Eugene City Council. She is the executive director of the Lane Coalition of Healthy Active Youth. She has dedicated her work to social justice, economic equality, and human rights. We are very fortunate to have her with us to give us an update on what happened in the Supreme Court. Let's hear it for Claire!
Thank you so much. So great to be here with you all. This is a historic day for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgendered people, for allies and same-sex couples in Oregon and across the United States. Tonight we are gathered here in Eugene in front of our federal building. At the same time, over 175 rallies taking place in every one of our 50 United States.
Yeah! Woo!
Today, the Supreme Court heard oral arguments in Hollingsworth versus Perry. This case is about whether loving, committed couples from California, like millions of other couples here in Oregon and across the United States, can enjoy the fundamental freedom to marry. What do you think? Do same-sex couples in the United States have a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness?
Yeah!
We won't learn until soon how the court will rule, but we know that the court has affirmed 14 times in the past century that the right to marry is a fundamental right. In fact, one of the most fundamental rights of all individuals. Prop 8 in California, just like Measure 36 in Oregon, violated that right. And so tonight we say Prop 8 cannot stand. Tomorrow, the court will hear arguments in a second marriage equality case, United States versus Windsor. This is the case that will consider DOMA, the Defense of Marriage Act, which was passed by Congress in 1996. Under DOMA, gay and lesbian couples that got legally married in any one of the 9 states or District of Columbia that provide for that right are specifically singled out for unfair treatment under federal law. Tomorrow's case involves the marriage of Edie Windsor and Thea Spire, who met in New York City in the 60s and built a life together that lasted for 4 decades. For the last 30 of those 40 years, Edie cared for Thea, who had multiple sclerosis. Upon her death, Thea left all her possessions to Edie as her spouse, but due to DOMA, Edie was required to pay over $360,000 in federal estate tax, a tax she would not have paid if she were the widow of a man. Is this fair? No! DOMA is unfair to over 100,000 married same-sex couples across our country who work hard every day, raise their kids, pay taxes, serve in the military, work as teachers, firefighters, and frontline responders in every state of the U.S. But it's not just those of us gathered here tonight who believe that DOMA needs to be overturned. These cases are being supported by legal briefs filed by the American Medical Association, along with a wide range of other medical and mental health organizations, over 300 leading American employers, including Nike, and labor unions representing 20 million working Americans. It's supported by the NAACP, National Council of La Raza, and dozens of other civil rights and women's organizations, by 30 former military and national defense officials, 131 prominent Republicans, including 4 former governors, as well as 172 members of the House and 40 senators. The last thought I'd like to leave you with on the status of these cases is that all of these organizations and allies also represent the opinions of 58% of Americans who polls show agree with the freedom to marry.
Yeah!
These days, it's almost impossible to keep up with the polling results. 63% of Latinos, 51% of African American voters, 62% of Catholics, and 81% of voters under the age of 30 all support the freedom to marry.
Yeah!
If the Supreme the American people, I think our response should be to them should be Americans support the freedom to marry, and that freedom means freedom for everyone.
Thank you so much, Claire. We have an amazing opportunity tonight to be in the company of our mayor, Kitty Piercy. Mayor Piercy is currently serving her third consecutive term as mayor. She is a longtime champion of social justice issues, as well as a supporter, for the freedom to marry. Please welcome Mayor Piercy.
Hi.
Okay, so now we know the Supreme Court needs to catch up with us. So as mayor of Eugene, Oregon, I stand with mayors all across this country, mayors for freedom to marry. We are a voice from communities small and large all across this country that believe this is a fundamental equality question, believe that this is a fundamental right for the people of our nation. As I look out here and I see friends, neighbors, people I have known for a long, long time who have loved each other and wanted to have the right to marry, I say it's time. You know, honestly, there are some things in the past history of this country where people didn't have rights to marry for other reasons. And that time has passed, and we look back at that and said, how are we ever like that as a nation? How did we ever do that to people? And there will be a day in the not-too-distant future where we will look back on how we are today, and we will say to ourselves, how could we ever have been like that as a nation? We all live on this planet together. We all have the right to love who we love and to share our lives with who we want to share with. Yesterday was my 43rd wedding anniversary. That's a long time. So, in my view, if that's what you want, you should be able to have it. This is a really serious thing. I like to laugh because it makes you feel better. But I have to say, nothing is more serious than these fundamental rights. And in this country, we're always sort of vacillating between doing what's good and doing what's bad. It's like an all-time project for us in this nation. And this is a place where I think we have a chance to do something really, really good. I believe our children know it, and it's time. And we all know that if we keep ourselves together over this, we're all going to have this right to enjoy this community and every community, to be married to who we want, to love who we want, and to all share in the equality and good things of this nation together. So, you know, give that Supreme Court a message. And be heartened by this and know that as you stand out here on our corner, you are standing with people all across America for the right to marry and equality.
Community member who is a champion of social justice and is also here today to tell us what you can do to get involved with the freedom to marry. Please welcome Ms. Harriet Merritt.
What a day! Can you believe you're here? We may not be able to figure out what the outcome is going to be. It may be wide, it may be narrow. More than likely, it might be narrow, but we're smart. We've done this for a long time, over a lot of issues. Some of you, I know your faces. I've seen you from one campaign to one rally to one movement. You've done this work for a long time. We have a couple in the audience right now who is going to be celebrating their 35th anniversary. Can we say hello?
be able to marry for the same reasons that everyone else should. It is the one time, the ritual that we share in common in our community where you can publicly declare your love and your honor and your commitment to another person. And that is what we're going to hope for, but we are smart. We can't control the courts. We don't know what the courts are going to do. We're excited, and we own that excitement, and this is a wonderful day to be here. It's a wonderful day in Oregon when it's not raining and you're doing the rally.